Hello, everyone. Today I have a special Michael Burch knife from Birch Tree Blade Works, and it is a mini Tanto that was made in the end of 2019, so December 2019, for a private collector, and it is in pristine shape. I got this off of the dealer who contacted directly with that private collector, so it is in pristine condition. And this mini Tanto is absolutely one of the my favorite birches that I've had in my hand to date. If you look through my channel, I have done a video on Michael Birch's knives before. Personally, in my Instagram, if I go have a look, I've owned maybe four, maybe even five of his pieces before, including this one. And I'll tell you a little bit why I like Michael's work so much. But let's jump in a little bit to the knife itself. The blade is Damasteel. This is Damascus, which has been finished with, I believe, a satin finish. It's not a fully polished finish, and I love this finish a lot because it does not, when I try to put my finger to discolor it, it still stays pretty colored. On more polished knives, if you rub it one way, it's just gonna change color. So I love how it's not only more durable, it's also more, I guess, looks better longer. Let's just put it that way. And it also happens to be a little bit more scratch resistant than the full polished finishes, which I really enjoy. It's still very vibrant, and it's pretty scratch resistant and oil resistant. So if you ever get a Damascus knife from a maker, tell the guy, don't make it mirror polished, make it satin finished, because it's just going to be it's going to look better longer. If you take it out to your friends, it's just going to keep looking good. Harder to scratch, so it looks newer for longer periods of time. So yeah. Anyways, back to the birch. So the scale here is made of Richlight. Really beautiful, fully black Richlight, and Michael screwed in two screws which have matching anodization to the bolster. This knife is a liner lock build, and absolutely well done from Michael. It's still new, has not been broken in at all, but the action is really, really good. It's got a strong flip, quite loud, locks up perfectly, zero stick. So, how do I feel about Michael Burch? I think Michael, in many ways, kind of like Todd Rexford, when he first started making, he made knives using manual tools. And if you can go back and have a look in his Instagram and earlier pages, the lines won't be as defined. It'll look more organic, but the lines aren't as defined as his newer pieces, which I believe in his newer pieces, they're a lot more beautiful. After Michael started using a CNC machine, he really was able to, increase the amount of creativity, innovation that he puts on his knives. A lot of his knives will have different vents, different pivots, everything, and it takes a lot of time. I mentioned before that CNC, if you use it for mass production, then the knives are less impressive because you spend a lot of time to design the knife on the CNC. But once you mass produce it and make hundreds of or even thousands of pieces, the cost of the time that goes into that is less. But for Michael, he makes a lot of one-off designs. If you look right now, it's 2021, and it's almost and it's almost, we're about a month away from an art knife show, which this show is one of the most difficult shows for makers to get in, because it has the absolute best makers from the world, not only for tactical knife makers, but also art knife makers. So Michael managed to get in that show, and he really right now is working really hard on producing some of the most difficult knives that he's ever done. So I really suggest that you go have a look at his Instagram page and follow the work that he's doing, because he's one of the, what I argue, someone who really strives to improve himself. He was well known 5, 6, 7 years ago, but his work is getting even better and better and better today. He's got solid fundamentals, but he keeps improving his work, which is why I mentioned in the start of the video that he's in this way kind of like Todd Rexford. When I look at Michael Burch's knives and his work, why do I keep repeating myself in terms of improvement? Beforehand, there are many makers which I would put Michael in the same level as, in terms of the quality of the build and the work, and the innovation in design and finishing. I will put up a few names out there, which I usually don't like to do in comparison, but let's just say, McGinnis Knives, Peter Carey, as some of the really, really high-end makers who make absolutely beautiful works of art. But if you look at, their works over the years, it's stayed pretty much, there's some changes, but the change is not as drastic as Michael's work. And Michael really pushes himself in terms of his design, which, and the quality and the fitment, the mechanism, everything is just tuned to an extent that now it is superior than his peers or his comparables 5 years earlier, which is a really, really impressive feat in my eyes. He really set himself apart from the pack, because he does improve on the quality, and his knives are just impeccable nowadays. In terms of the other makers, top tier makers, I don't want to mention any names, but a lot of their knives are more inconsistent. Not a lot. I mean, a few of their knives are inconsistent. They might have a flaw here or there. If you play with it a lot, it might start having lock stick. I've never had that with Michael's, pieces. His mechanism is so solid. It's just superb. I've even had, I gave it to my friend one time, and the guy flipped it. Not this piece, my older piece. It fell, he flipped it, and it slipped out of his hand. It fell on the table, but he was standing, so it fell like, 2-3 foot. And I was devastated. But, when I picked it up and tried flipping it, the action was really exactly the same. I don't know about you guys, but I have to confess, I've dropped a few knives. Some of them custom, some of them, but most of them, production. But anyways, once you drop it, the action changes, or something happens, or it needs to be sent back. But that piece just stayed absolutely perfect. It's like nothing happened to it. So, in terms of mechanical wise, it's just perfect. And when I say production, I dropped actually Michael's newest collaboration with Rayot. I believe it was the Tangent model. Really great knife, but when I dropped it, the action changed. But with his custom, the build is more solid. It's so it's stronger and it'll last you longer. One of those pieces which I'm absolutely 100%, satisfied and really confident about keeping around and using and etc. In terms of the fitment of the scale, it's really difficult to fit, curved areas to the bolster, but Michael does it flawlessly. Again, here you can't feel the junction, really great. Absolutely no stick under lock release. Blade is, pretty much dead center. It's got quite a thick blade, this one, but it's got an edge where, I've only tested it on paper so far, but it slices really well. But of course, with the thicker blade, you wouldn't be going to a fruit and slicing everything, because it's just gonna kind of it's not gonna slice as easily. Let's just put it that way. The knife and the grind itself, just beautiful. I don't know what else to say, but I think Michael is an outstanding maker. He's an outstanding individual. I've sent a few knives back to him for spa, and he's always gotten back to me when he has time, which may be a few months, but it's still much better than other makers. He cares about his customers. Absolutely love his work. And I really think he's going to be one of the best newer, or not newer because he's been doing this a long time, but he's one of the best makers that are going to be around and improving, in the coming years. Look out for Michael Burch. His blade has a design. I don't think it needs that design, because you just know when you have a Burch knife in your hand, or when you see one. He's got a really, really distinct design language, which if you ever design anything, just try drawing a knife yourself. It's really difficult to have a design language and a design that's beautiful. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. The perfect combination of unique design, no one else like it. Great maker, great businessman, super solid knife. You can carry it around, won't, dull your finish. Sharp, strong, just perfect. So yeah, go check out Michael's work. I think he deserves more followers and more hype than he currently has, because his work is now tremendously improved from before. So yeah, go check out his work. Thank you for watching.